Hey guys, so today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I saved this homeowner $500, and we'll get right to that in a second. Today we're pouring this 40 foot by 34 foot garage. It's about 5.5 inches thick. Now it's 40 feet deep, 34 across, even though in the video it looks a little different than that. And the people we're working for, I'm working for the foundation contractor, so I'm a sub on this job. They had the foundation people came in and they did all the prep work here. They laid the styrofoam, the wire mesh, the vapor barrier, put up the forms for the garage doors, which is stuff that we normally do, but they've been doing a lot of that lately and just having us come in and pour and finish the concrete. So how did I save the homeowner $500? Well, this is a Monday right here. On Friday, when I had all the concrete lined up and I was talking to the concrete dispatcher, I had lined up the conveyor truck for this first pour. Now, if some of you haven't seen a conveyor truck, I have it on some of my jobs, but it's an actual conveyor belt they have on the concrete truck that unfolds and it'll reach 40 feet. And then it's got like a little tremie on the end of it that you use to pour out the concrete. So it's really convenient for these pours where you don't really need a pump truck, but you have a little bit of a reach to go, so it'll get you back 40 feet. And that's exactly what it is from the front of the garage to this back wall is 40 feet. So using that conveyor truck, at least for the first 10 yards here, would have made this job so much easier. But they charge $50 a yard to use that conveyor truck. So it's basically, you pay for the concrete on the truck plus $500 to get that conveyor truck there and use it. Now what happened was Friday afternoon at 4 p.m. the concrete dispatcher calls me and he's like, Mike, conveyor truck's broke down. We won't be able to get it fixed for Monday morning's pour. What do you want to do? So I was like, well, everybody's expecting us to be here. It's going to be a nice day. It's late in the fall. We don't have a lot of nice days left. I go, we'll just use our 16-foot chute. We'll just pull, whatever we got to pull. As you can see, with a 16-foot chute and the truck chutes there. Now this concrete driver that delivered the concrete for the first truck actually has a spare chute on the end of his regular chutes. So he has an extra 3 or 4 feet of chute plus my 16-foot chute got us right to where you see right there. Got us right about 35 feet. So we just pulled the first truck basically. 4,000 pounds of weight per yard times 10 yards is 40,000 pounds of concrete we're pulling around. So that's how we saved him $500 is just by using the 16-foot chute. Now you might ask, well, why don't you just use that all the time? Well, when you pour concrete floors every single day and you're pulling around concrete every day, from usually the end of March, 1st of April to sometime in November when temperatures start getting too cold, when you're pouring every single day, you're going to wear yourself out real quick if you use that 16-foot chute every day whenever you don't have good access or you can't reach a spot. So, we use it when we have to, but we wouldn't want to use it every single day and just pull concrete around. That's why they have the conveyor truck, to make things more convenient, to make things a little bit easier. But, everything comes at a cost, right? It comes at an expense. So you can see the second truck pulling in now. We got 3 trucks coming in here. And this first truck will do about a third of this, which is what the conveyor truck would have done, about a third of it. And then we're still going to hook on our smaller chute, like our 8-foot chute, to get the middle part of this thing. So there's quite a bit of pulling going, to go around when you're doing concrete floors. I mean, you're pulling and you're spreading. A little bit different than a concrete wall where you're just dropping it in the form and, the concrete's kind of spreading itself a little bit until it gets to the top, and then you stop pulling that top 8 inches around. Here, you're just spreading it all over the whole floor, and it just becomes a little more difficult. So if we could have probably called and got a pump here, but it's $1,100 to get a pump, and I didn't think that was really a necessary expense when we have access. When we carry around a 16-foot chute like this, we can put it on a sawhorse, so we're not adding the extra weight to the concrete chute like we're doing with this little one right here. And there's really no chance of any damage or we're not going to break the piston on the truck by adding all that extra weight to the chute. So we're just going to empty this thing out. This thing's almost done. We'll just empty the first truck out right here in the middle so we can get our pads and get a little bit of this first truck pulled down, screeded down with a battery power screed. And then that's it, man. $500 is $500, right? I mean, everything adds up on a job like this. So that was our way of just getting, number one, getting the job done, be able to check it off the list so we can move on to the next scheduled job for the next day, not have to reschedule this one, not having to make the homeowner or the GC reschedule other subs that are coming in behind us, and just keeping everything on schedule and making everything work out just right. Now today it's actually a pretty nice day for fall here, late in the fall in Maine. I mean, you can see around the outside of the foundation there's all kinds of leaves that have already fallen. And if this is going to be a windy day, we're going to have to be fighting leaves on this thing, but we bring leaf blowers this time of year to help blow the leaves off. But as you can see, a ton of leaves have already fallen, and there's still a bunch more to go, which is what we fight for about, 3 to 4 weeks here in Maine in the fall, is between the leaves and the pine needles falling consistently off the trees every day. It becomes a little bit of a battle to try to pour and finish concrete sometimes. So the second truck's, he's backing in, he's getting mixed up right now, he's getting ready to go. The concrete mix we use, our normal concrete floor mix, is a 3,500 PSI. We got microfiber mesh in here along with, you can see the wire mesh. We use water reducer in all our concrete mixes so we can pour a little bit looser slump without affecting the strength. That's why the slump is the way it is. It's like when you pour concrete every single day, you want to make your job as easy as you can, and using water reducer every day helps make our job easier, so that's why we do it. They do charge, a few extra bucks a yard for that, but it makes it well worth it. And then using the battery screed, the DEWALT battery screed, if you guys watch any of my videos, please subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, but if you guys have watched any of my previous videos, you can see we've been using that thing all summer. We are really happy with how that works. It's really, it's got a lot of power. The battery lasts a really long time in that, and that's a 14-foot board. That makes pouring out and screeding floors, a lot more convenient than using a 12-foot board. We do have a 12-footer that we've used a lot in the past. Just the extra 2 feet on that board makes screeding floors, so much easier, especially with this thing. It's got enough weight to it so it'll screed down just about any slump. I bet if you were pouring, we don't pour too many 3 or 4 inch slumps. That's pretty stiff. But I feel like if we did, this thing would screed that stuff down just fine also. And it works just fine on all the slumps we pour. And I'm just getting that bowl floated down and back. That's one of the conveniences of using water reducer too, is when you bowl float, it's fast down and back and you're good. Especially if if you can screed floors like we do, nice and flat and level. Now this garage floor is actually flat until the last 6 feet up by the garage doors. In the last 6 feet it slopes an inch towards the garage doors. You'll get to see that and how we did that in a second here towards the end of the video. Right now we got to get the second truck dumped out. So we got most of the concrete on the first 2 trucks, and then we got a third truck just to finish up. The sun's just starting to come up. That's actually a lake. On the other side of those houses is a really nice lake right there. So these people live right on the lake. And we'll get this one, same slump, same concrete mix. The key is for us, what takes the longest for us really is just spreading the concrete out, getting it out of the truck. As far as everything else, we snap a chalk line around the outside edge using our laser level. We have the laser level set up right now, and we use that for our interior wet pads to strike off from. You'll see me kind of checking with the grade stick and a receiver on it, checking with the laser level and making pads in there, and then we strike them off by hand. But really, this part right here is what takes the longest. As far as the screeding and the bowl floating, that stuff's pretty fast, pretty easy. But there's a lot of pulling around when you're doing concrete floors, and people kind of underestimate or just take for granted how much weight you're pulling around. And like I said earlier in the video, it's a yard of concrete's 4,000 pounds. It's 2 tons. So, and it does, I mean, it does flow pretty good. It's not like you're pulling around 2 tons of dry dirt, but it's still, you're still pulling around a lot of aggregate, you know. So here I am just checking with the self-leveling laser there. That's a DEWALT laser too. That we really like that one. And then just making pads, and then we strike things off. This is why our floors are so nice and flat and level, and why they both float so easy also is because of how we strike off concrete, how we screed it. I'm not saying there isn't more than one way to do things right, but this is a really good way to strike off concrete right here and get it level. That's one thing that's nice about using a battery screed too. When you got 2 guys, Luke's running the screed, Darren's doing the raking, that really know what they're doing. You know, Luke's screeding, and he's looking at both ends, making sure he's scoring. He's going at a certain pace to allow Darren to be able to rake the concrete behind him without stopping, to make sure it's not too low or not too high. That's how you get really good flat and level floors like that, when you got a couple guys that can work together really good. So the battery screed allows basically you to screed concrete with just 2 guys like this, one guy screeding, one guy raking. Now when you get into bigger areas, you know, it is nice to have a guy raking on both sides, but with the width of this garage floor right here, because of that 14-foot board, you know, one guy could rake this thing pretty easy behind him, because there's a lot of overlap. The overlap too kind of tells you just how flat you are. If there was a hump or a dip in the floor, you'd be able to tell with all this overlap with the board. And as you can see, as Luke pulls that down, that thing is really perfect. There's just, you just can't get it much better than that right there. Well, truck number 3 is mixing up, and we'll get him dumped out here in a second. We like to go one truck at a time, so we'll dump it out, get all our edges magged, get our pads, wet pads shot in the middle, strike them off, get it screeded, and then as one guy's bow floating, you know, the other guys can start dumping on the next truck. That's basically what we do. We like to dump a truck out at a time and just get them out of the way, get them back to the concrete plant. That does a couple things for us. It allows us to get the truck down faster, get it all screeded down faster, but it also, getting the truck back to the concrete plant quicker means the batch man can load it and send it to somebody else. So he kind of counts on us, you know, first thing in the morning, getting us the first round of trucks every morning. So because he knows how fast we can dump it and get rid of it and get it back to him, so they can send out more concrete, obviously make more money that way, versus people that just take an hour and a half to dump out one truck. Yes, there are a lot of people like that still. They're just slow, and you know, the batch man will send a truck out to somebody, and it just takes forever for them to unload it and get it back, and it just makes the day go very, very slow, and it's hard for him to judge just how much concrete he can take or how many orders he can take that day when he's pouring for a lot of people like that, versus people he can count on to get trucks dumped out like us. Now again, I put out a couple videos a week about all different types of concrete flat work. You know, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't yet. I also teach how to do concrete. I teach how to power screed like this, how to bow float, how to lay concrete floors like this. You know, all different types of concrete flat work that we do. You can go back and check out some of my videos in the Concrete Underground. I do that, and the link for that is down below in the description down below if you want to check that out. So we're getting down to the last part of the garage, where the last 6 feet of this are going to slope towards the garage doors. This is just what the homeowner wanted. It's nothing that, you know, it's nothing that we suggested or anything like that. That's just what he wanted. I probably would have sloped a little bit more than 6 feet. I would have gone at least back in as far as how far I thought I might drive a car in here or a truck in here or something like that. But most of the dripping, if he drives a car in here and it's wet from raining, or if it's snow melting off a car, you know, most of that will be done in the first 6 feet. So we're going to get the battery power screed, will screed it right down to that part, and then I'm going to move the camera here in a second to give you a little bit better idea of how Darren and I are going to screed this last piece, and you'll see just how easy it is. But it's really, I mean, we make it look easy. It's really not that easy doing what we do. It does take some practice. We screed concrete by hand, what we call kick screeding. So Darren's kind of kicking the concrete back into his footprints to fill those, you know, those holes or those gaps or those areas where when he pulls his boot out, it kind of leaves a low spot. So you want to fill that back in with concrete. And at the same time, you know, he's making sure his outside edge of the screed is scoring. You can see that nice even score line he's leaving. That means we're actually both leaving that. That means we're scoring on the concrete. So that part of the slab that we're screeding right there is you know, it does slope, but it has a flatness to the slope. It doesn't go up and down, doesn't have dips and humps in that part. That means it's perfect. And then, you know, you've seen us run the both load over things like this. You can kind of gauge just how flat you're screeding based on what it looks like after you both load. So that has an inch slope in it right there, that last 6 feet. And even as kind of like the slump we pour at with water reducer, you can see the concrete doesn't sag at all. That's what a lot of people don't understand about concrete. It's not going to sag in a little bit of slope unless you pour it like super wet. But this, for us, this is a normal everyday like pouring slump, what we call it. Slump is how wet or how dry the concrete mix is. That's just the term for it. And this is an average everyday floor slump for us. So we could just turn that last part, use a 14-foot screed, and screed that last slope part down. So you could do it both ways if you really know what you're doing. The boys here are just checking right in front of the door, see if there's any little dips or humps there, and you can see, nice, perfect. So the last little bitty part of this is just getting this screeded, and then, you know, Darren and Luke will stay here. They'll power trowel this today. They'll get it saw cut today. They'll get the joints in it. And that's, you know, that's basically an everyday pour for us right here. Just, you know, it's different every day. Sometimes it's a house foundation, sometimes it's a big basement, sometimes it's a slab. We call this a floor. When we pour concrete inside a foundation, we call it a concrete floor. When we pour it just right on the ground with no frost walls or no foundation, just like 2x12s set up and you're pouring right on the ground, then we call that a slab. We do a ton of those too. But make sure you check out these two videos that are going to be popping up right here to learn a little bit more about concrete. You know, something else that might pique your interest. Let me know down in the comments where you're from, where you're watching this from. If you have any questions, you know, I'll try to help answer them in the comments. And again, you know, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. But make sure you check these two videos out right here.